Hi, this is Sandra and welcome to Cooking and Crafts. I have a fun, feel-packed show for you today with 3 exciting things that you can make at home. First of all, I'd like to say thanks to the Varnell Community Center for the use of their wonderful location. A big shout out to them because it's been fantastic using their area and their facilities. Let me give you a sneak preview of what we're going to do. Have you ever had an aching back or you've had cold hands? Well, I'm going to show you 2 things to make at home that you can remedy those and solve those for you almost instantly. I also have an idea for a wreath. It's an arts and craft project that's simple and inexpensive but looks great when you get finished. And then I'm going to be making a pineapple casserole. Sounds good. It really is. It's delicious. It's got some cheese mixed in with the pineapple and you can't get much better than that. I'll see you in just a second and we'll get started.
Hi, I'm Johnny Miller at your Western Sizzlin' in Ooltewah, Tennessee and Dalton, Georgia, and I can tell you that infomercials work. We've been advertising monthly to reach our customers for over 17 years now, and I know that you can reach your customers as well. You can depend on Elliott Media to take care of all your advertising needs, and remember, Western Sizzlin', we're your family steakhouse.
When you're in the market for a new or scratch and dent appliance, Langford Appliance is the place to come. We're a locally owned business for over 30 years serving this area. Don't let your dollars go out of town. When you buy your appliances from Langford, your money stays right here in Dalton, and you can always count on us for the best service after the sale. We have a large parts and service department for all your appliance repairs or plumbing and hot water needs. Come see us when you're in need of any appliance. That's Langford Appliance at 319 North Glenwood Avenue in Dalton.
Hey, welcome back to Cooking and Crafts. This is Sandra, and I have a super idea for you for not just for you, but for anybody in your family. Have you ever had really cold hands and you're going out in the winter time and you just can't stay warm? I've got some ideas to show you how to do that with some things you have around the house. And also, if you have an aching neck or an aching back, you can go buy some things that will solve that, but I have some simple tips that you can make something at home, and it doesn't take a lot of skills at all. So let's get started. Let's talk about for cold hands. You can buy products that you put in your pockets and keep your hands warm, but hey, it's so simple to make it at home. I have used fleece and I've used pink, but you can get this in any color. You can also get this in a camouflage. You can get it in white, beige. It comes in assortment. You can also get this in college colors also, and they have their little motif and their mascots on the front. So you can make this for you and you can make it for someone else. I just devised a heart pattern. I just took a piece of paper and folded it in two and made a heart. And then your fleece comes by the yard. I just needed probably about a half a yard, and I think it was around $2 or $3 for quite a bit of fabric. You will need some pins and a pin cushion, and if you don't have those, you can just use safety pins. You don't have to go out and buy anything. What you want to do is pin your pattern to your heart and cut it out with just a pair of scissors. When you do, you just want to pin it together, and you will need some needle and thread. I like to use matching thread. The reason I do is that if I mess up sewing, nobody can see it. If I'm going to sew this with a black or a white, which is a contrasting color, and I make a little stitch boo-boo right here, that's the first thing you're going to see. With a matching color, nobody's going to see it. And if my sewing skills are not great, nobody can tell it. What you want to do is you want to sew almost all around the whole heart. I like to leave mine open on the side. For me, it's hard to leave something open at the top and then sew it back because it never gets perfectly straight. So I usually start here and I'll go down and I'll sew around the side and I'll leave about this much open, and I stuff it with rice. It's the long cooking rice that just comes in a bag like this. You can get it at discount stores. You can get it at the grocery store. With the openings there, just pour you some rice in. I like to work over a container. I like to put my rice in here and then pour it in. If I do accidentally spill some, it goes in this container and it doesn't go all over my counter. And then if I did that, I'd have a mess to clean up. And then where your opening is, just be sure to take your needle and thread. And again, I just sew this by hand and sew it up. If you know you're going to be outside at a ball game or some event, and you can make as many of these as you want to, pop this in the microwave for about 20 seconds and then just feel of it. Now be careful because it might be a little hot when you get out, especially in places. Sort of shake it up and your rice inside gets really nice and warm. You can slip this in your pocket and your hands will say toasty warm. And it also looks cute too. And again, you can make these and you can give these to people. Something else I like to do is make something for my neck or for my back, because sometimes you just have those aches and pains, especially when you get to my age. What I've taken here is the fleece, and I just put the wrong sides together. I started stitching here and I turned my corners around and I've left it open at the end. A little tip of then when you're turning it, what we call right side out, sometimes your corners don't want to turn. They look like they're still poked to the inside. If you will get a pair of scissors and close them and go to the corners, and each 4 corners, just sort of stick your scissors in there just a little bit. Don't be very harsh on it because you will actually puncture it and you will punch a hole in it if you're not very careful. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to fill this with rice. I don't want to leave a large hole because I'm going to have to sew it up. So what I've done is I've got my funnel. So put your funnel here, work over the container, and then your rice is going to go down in your container like this. And it may take a few minutes because the rice sometimes is a little slow going into the funnel. And you will eventually fill up your little neck brace that you have. So what I would do is I would fill it up. The end is almost filled up. I would fill the whole container up with rice. And again, this is long cooking rice. You don't need the minute rice because it might accidentally cook on you in the microwave. When you get through and it's filled up, and don't pack it so full that you think it's going to burst at the seams, you might take a couple of straight pins. I like to just pin it in place so while I'm about to sew, it doesn't move around and my edges look pretty finished. And again, I'm going to use the matching thread, just get you a needle, and I'm going to sew this up. Be sure when you start stitching and when you end your stitches that you tie a knot, or what my students at school used to do is we'd sew it in the same place maybe 5 or 6 times because sewing it over and over in the same place sort of secures it and it hopefully won't come out. Just cut your thread off. Of course, you want to take your straight pin out when you get through. And then one day if you come home from work and you've got that tired neck and that tired back, just pop this in the microwave, and this might take a little bit longer. This might take up to 20, 30 seconds. Just remember, you can always put it back in there longer, but if you burn the thing to pieces, there's not much you can do. This won't last 10, 15, 20 years. You know, you might have to open it and change your rice after about a year, but no moisture is being mixed with this, so if you just put it in there at small amounts of time, you're not going to run the chance of cooking your rice and ruining it. But the fleece is soft and it feels good on your neck, and like I said, you can go out and buy these that are already done, but it's sort of fun to make your own, and you can make it for almost nothing. I've seen some people put beans and things in it. You can also do that. It's just as long as something in there gets warm enough to stay with the fleece. I tend to like the rice. I think it's smoother on your neck and your back. It's more pliable. You can bend this around your neck. I find that the larger beans, like the pinto beans and things, They're a little rough, and I like the softer feel of the rice. To me, it's better. Let's say that you don't really have a lot of sewing skills. What I did was I got an oven mitt, and I didn't use this anymore, and this was open at the top. I just poured my rice in here, sewed this up at the top. For a long period of time, I didn't even sew it. I would just, after I put it in the microwave and heated it up and got it out, I would close it with the clothespins, and then I'd put it on my neck. But then after a few months of, thinking I may spill that rice, I sewed it at the top. So this one is actually full of rice, and I use it quite often. The oven mitt is soft. It's like a cotton fabric, and it's soft to your neck if you put it back there. So go home, make these, and then you won't have those tired, aching back and neck, and then you'll have warm hands. I'll see you back in just a second for another tip.
During a heart attack, every second is important. Hamilton Medical Center has invested even more into advanced cardiovascular technology and medical expertise, with more outpatient and emergency cardiac capabilities than have ever been offered, all just minutes away from home. That is why more people follow their hearts to Hamilton Medical Center. We are here for you. Hamilton Medical Center. Your health is our mission.
Have you ever wondered why you cannot achieve a flat tummy like you had when you were a teenager? In spite of exercise, it seems like you're getting nowhere. It could be that you've had children and it's just impossible to achieve without having surgery. With a procedure called an abdominoplasty, we have specialized techniques that can repair the damage that has been done with the pregnancy or the weight loss. We can help you to achieve a flatter, tighter tummy like you had in your younger years.
We are this close.
We're this close.
We are this close of wanting to making history.
This close to changing the world.
We're this close.
This close. This close to making sure no child suffers a crippling disease
ever again. This close.
We are this close to ending polio.
Ending polio. All we need is you.
This close.
If we don't act now, we may lose this chance forever. Help Rotary make history at endpolionow.org.
Hey, welcome back to Cooking and Crafts. I've got a wonderful arts and craft project for you. It's a wreath, and it's simple. It doesn't cost a lot of money. You can't make it maybe just in 10 minutes, but you can make it in one afternoon or while you're sitting around and watching TV, and those are the kind of arts and craft projects that I like. What I started with was a wreath, and I just got a small one because sometimes I think smaller things are a little bit neater, and it was just the green kind of styrofoam. I've left a little space here, so I'm going to fill this up in just a minute, but this is what it looked like when it started. I just got the most inexpensive wreath I could find because I knew I was going to cover it up, so I just needed a base, and I really didn't care what color it was. I really didn't care what it looked like, so I started with that. I also just already had some red yarn at home, but you could use any color that you wanted. They have a multicolor. You could use just really anything. This yarn is probably for the whole amount, just a couple of $3, and it's really easy, and it doesn't take the whole roll of yarn to make this, so you'll have it left over for something else. When you're making the yarn, like I said, or the wreath, you'll need to cut something about an arm's length. And that's a pretty good measurement of something, as long as you stretch out your arm and just cut it off. And what you do is we're going to start wrapping this around the wreath. And I like to start at the back because nobody's going to see this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my straight pin. I do need a pin cushion. I'm going to put my straight pin here. Let me turn around the front where you can see it. And let me get some of this out of the way so it doesn't get tangled up. We don't want to be working with 20 pieces of yarn here. And what you do, oh, mine came undone. Let me start over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap the yarn around the wreath. And I sort of like to wad it up just a little bit, and I'm going to wrap it around. And you want to have it a little tight because you don't want this to be loose and it falling off. And if you don't get it exactly straight, if it's not up and down, if it's leaning to the side a little bit, that's fine, because it's hard to get something straight on a wreath that's a little round. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way around. Be sure when you stop that you're on the back. So mine is not going to quite reach around it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin it here, and then I'm going to cut this off on the back so nobody can see that where I've sort of pieced it together. Now I've got a little bit more to go, but we'll pretend that that's already covered up. And I made some little pom-poms on it. I like everything the same color. I don't know why, but to me, it just looks a little bit better if everything is a solid color. You could add some other colors to it. You could add red, white, and blue. You could add college colors. And to make your pom-poms, again, you're going to cut your yarn about the length of your arm. You're going to take 3 fingers, and I like to have, where I started the yarn, I like to have it at the back. And you're going to wrap it around your 3 fingers. If you want a bigger pom-pom, you can wrap it around 4 fingers. And if you even want bigger, you can wrap it around your whole hand. If you want something smaller, you can go with 2 fingers. I probably wouldn't get less than that because it sort of gets hard to manage. You can do this by yourself, but sometimes it's better to have a friend. And what you're going to do is you're going to put this down. You're going to just slip it off your fingers. You're going to take another piece of yarn. You're going to place this in the middle, and you're going to tie a knot. And just try to get it in the middle the best you can. And if it is a little off-centered, it really doesn't matter. The piece that I had left over that didn't quite wrap around it, that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to cut it off. Okay, so there's one, and I have another one made. And then what you do is, where you've tied it around the middle, leave that long piece of yarn because that's what's going to tie it to your wreath. To trim it, you want to take your scissors and you want to loop it in the yarn. I like to pull up just a little bit. Now you don't want to pull it so tight that you're going to rip it to pieces, but I sort of like to pull it up, make it a little tight, and I'm going to cut through all my loops. Then what you want to do is sort of take it and fluff it up with your fingers. It's sort of like my hair. If you've got a little wild section there, you just trim it off a little bit. If you don't want to trim it off, you don't have to, but just sort of fluff it up. And then these are the ends that you've had left, and what you want to do is you want to tie it around your wreath. I like to tie it to where the knots, of course, are on the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to tie my knot back here. I just tie just like a plain old double knot. I don't usually put any straight pins in here. Before I cut it off, I sort of like to look and make sure that it's okay. If I go ahead and I cut my yarn, it's already too short and there's not much I can do about it. And then you can cut this, and then you can save that yarn for something else. And then I do have to finish this. But I made a pom-pom already, and this is where I'm going to hang it up. And you can do it any way you want to. I'm going to let this be at the top. So what I'm going to do is put my knot at the back. You can just tie any kind of knot you want to. Just try to double it so while you're hanging this up on your door or wherever, it won't come off. I like to trim it up to make it a little bit even. And I want this to be on the top. So like I said, we're going to pretend that this section is covered up. But I would hang it up and I would have a little pom-pom at the top. And this is very inexpensive to make. Kids can make it. You can, like I said, make this while you're watching TV. You can make a little bit today. You can work on some of it tomorrow. This is a great project with Scouts. You could do school colors. You could do college team colors, anything that you choose. So take your own twist on this and make it. And I have a little cooking recipe I'm going to show you next, so I'll see you in just a second.
Hi, I'm Johnny Miller at your Western Sizzlin' in Ooltewah, Tennessee and Dalton, Georgia, and I can tell you that infomercials work. We've been advertising monthly to reach our customers for over 17 years now, and I know that you can reach your customers as well. You can depend on Elliott Media to take care of all your advertising needs, and remember, Western Sizzlin', we're your family steakhouse.
When you're in the market for a new or scratch and dent appliance, Langford Appliance is the place to come. We're a locally owned business for over 30 years serving this area. Don't let your dollars go out of town. When you buy your appliances from Langford, your money stays right here in Dalton, and you can always count on us for the best service after the sale. We have a large parts and service department for all your appliance repairs or plumbing and hot water needs. Come see us when you're in need of any appliance. That's Langford Appliance at 319 North Glenwood Avenue in Dalton.
People depend on you. That is why you depend on Hamilton. Hamilton Medical Center provides expert orthopedic and neurosurgical care to our region. When it comes to back and neck pain, our innovation and expertise extends to prevention, early intervention, diagnosis, rehabilitation, and the most minimally invasive treatments available. Even biomechanics and injury prevention assistance is offered through Hamilton Spine Health and Sport. We're here for you. Hamilton, your health is our mission.
Have you ever heard the term, your eyes are your expressions, the windows to your soul? But when your eyelids look tired and they start to sag, it will make you look much older than you actually are. There is a simple surgical procedure called a blepharoplasty or eyelid tuck, which can help to rejuvenate and redefine the contours around your eyelids. It will even improve your fields of vision, and a portion may even be covered by insurance. We can help redefine how others see you.
Hey, this is Sandra again, and welcome back for the last segment, and it's a cooking segment, so can't get much better than that. I'm going to make a recipe called a pineapple casserole. It's very good, very simple, and it's great with vegetables, so here we go. I'm just going to make sort of a mini version, so I'm just going to take a little pan, and I do like to spray just a little bit of oil in it because it keeps it from sticking quite a bit. I do want to go ahead and preheat my oven to 325 degrees. It's already turned on. So when I finish with this in just a few minutes, I can plop it in there and it starts cooking instantly. You want to add 2 large cans of crushed pineapple. Again, I'm making just a little mini version to show you very quickly, but you'll need 2 large cans of pineapple, and you want to drain it and strain it. Just pour your pineapple, your juice in here. I would advise you to save and to reserve the juice. You can drink it, you can mix it in recipes. I like to mix it with my orange juice. So after your cans of pineapple are drained, go ahead and put it in your pan. And you will probably need a larger dish. You'll probably need like maybe an 8x8 casserole dish. And you just sort of mash your pineapple down. And the reason that you do want it drained is if you don't, this is going to be real soupy and real juicy, and you want it to have more texture to it. You're going to need another bowl. And in my bowl, I'm going to put some flour. This is self-rising flour. It's not going to really rise a whole lot, but I find better results by using this. And you're going to need 5 tablespoons. So you'll have to get out your measuring spoon and you'll put your 5 tablespoons in here. You're going to stir these things up, so don't put it on top of your pineapple yet. You're going to need a cup of grated cheese. I like to grate my own cheese. To me, I find the result is better. I find that it's cheaper. I find that my cheese is a little bit moist and it's not dried out. And the last thing I'm going to add is I'm going to add a cup of granulated sugar. And I'm going to put it in there too. So again, drain your 2 cans of pineapple, put put it in here. Make sure you spray your pan just a little bit. Again, I would use an 8x8 or an oblong pan. Either one's probably fine. Preheat your oven to 325 degrees. In another bowl, you want to mix your flour and your cheese and your sugar. And again, that was a cup of grated, I like extra sharp cheddar cheese. It was a cup of sugar and then 5 tablespoons of self-rising flour. You're now going to pour this on top of your pineapple. And just sort of take your spoon and spread it out. And you could add chopped pecans to this, you could add chopped walnuts, you could add anything that you want to it, and it will give you a crunchy kind of taste. I just got the round buttery crackers. You need a whole sleeve of those, and you're going to put them in a Ziploc bag, and I just mash the bag, and to me, if they're not all broken up or if they're just different sizes, that's good enough. You're going to pour this around on top of your flour, sugar, and cheese mixture. And again, I'm making just a little abbreviated version, and I'm also making a mess here. And what you want to do is just spread that out a little bit. And you want to try to get the crumbs mixed over your pineapple cheese mixture there. Then you're going to need a stick of margarine. It could be like the kind that's wrapped up in the little individual paper. And then you just want to drizzle it. You don't have to melt it completely, although you could. It really doesn't matter. I find that this works just as well because it's eventually going to melt in your oven, and you just sort of drizzle it on the top. I've also found good results with the margarine that you spray. It's a little less calories. It's got quite a bit of water added to it. And sometimes I take that and just squirt it all over it. It gives the same effect, but again, it's a little bit lower in calories. You just need something on the top that when it cooks, it's going to melt with your crackers. And it's going to make them a kind of juicy thing on the top. And you're going to pop this in your oven. Again, it's preheated to 325 degrees. This will take around 30 to 45 minutes. You can see that your oven may be a little bit, the temperature may be a little bit different than mine. I would say after 10 or 15 minutes, open the door and look. You don't want your crackers burned on the top. You just want them a little golden brown. And here's one that I made tonight, or actually I made it this morning. And it turns out great. And you can eat it while it's popping hot. You can also put it in the refrigerator and eat it cold, but at my house we tend to like it sort of hot when it comes out of the oven. This is one of the dishes that I usually make at Thanksgiving at my house. My family comes to my house at Thanksgiving, and this is one of my niece's requests. She almost asks every time, have you got your pineapple casserole made? Because this is great with green beans, and it's good with ham, and it's good with other kind of veggies, although it's just good by itself with, you know, a glass of sweet tea. So hopefully you can make this, and I know your results will turn out just as good as mine or even better than mine. And again, you can crumble some pecans or walnuts and get that crunchy taste on the top of it. So I hope you've enjoyed the recipe, and take your own twist and make it, and enjoy cooking with your family because it's a lot of fun. And again, this is Sandra. Thank you so much for watching me on Cooking and Crafts, and I'll see you next time.
To advertise your business on TV, contact Elliott Media at 706-529-4237.